My name is Colin Mennell. I'm the editor of the Whetley Voice, a community newspaper in Manningham, Bradford, Yorkshire. This area is about half a mile square, and right in the middle of it is Sloan Square, the heart of Whetley Lane. It's surrounded by corporation houses, council houses, private houses. Sloan Square was built 40 years ago. There are two squares in Sloan Square, east and west. There's 152 flats altogether. The problems in Sloan Square that people are having to face are fantastic. This community newspaper is printed free by donations from the social services of stencils and paper. The community at large make this paper what it is. We have people in Sloan Square and we have people outside of Sloan Square giving us things for the paper, and I collect these and I edit the paper itself. The duplicating part of it is done from people like the CRC, the Management Centre, and Bradford University Students' Union. Bradford Playspace play a big part in this, as I was learnt by a young man called Mick Hayes, well known as Popcorn Mick by the children of Sloan Square. Mick taught me all these things, as he was an ex-journalist, and now he's not here. I believe he's in Germany somewhere. Out of this, the community can read what has happened and know what is going on in their area. One of the stories we had actually was a plea for a zebra crossing on Whetley Lane. This is Eileen, the school patrol lady on Whetley Lane. Eileen, as you know, we've got a zebra crossing for Whetley Lane. Could I have your opinion of the Whetley Lane road in particular, of the road hazard in the cars?
Well, it's a treacherous road and it really does need a zebra crossing. But I think it would be better at the top end of Whetley Lane and not the bottom end of Whetley Lane, because there is more children at that end, and the children out of Whetley Lane, Sloan Square, use this more often.
Yes. Just recently, you tell me, a crash has happened on here last Monday.
Oh yes, 3 cars all bumped together down here.
Have you seen any accident yourself on Whetley Lane?
Oh yes, I've seen quite a few, you know, higher up the road.
Yes.
With small children crossing instead of coming down and using the school patrol crossing.
What do you think of the Whetley Voice part that played in getting this zebra crossing?
It was very good, very good indeed, because it brought home to people around the Whetley Lane area that children need this crossing badly. I mean, otherwise I think it would have just gone dormant all the time, but somebody has spoken their mind about this thing. This is what they need.
Yes. Zebra. A few weeks ago, a child was knocked down in the area where the zebra crossing should be put. Thank God this child was not killed. If you feel strongly about this zebra crossing, it is your duty to speak up. Please call or write to the editor of the Whetley Voice, care of 60 Sloan Square East, Whetley Lane.
Well, I heard Mr. Mennell was wanting a petition taken up, and as my son had been killed on the road in 1970.
Have you heard of a lot of people getting knocked down on that road?
About 5 personally myself, but I think there's been 300 and something. It was in the Whetley Voice, that, you know, accidents.
And your little girl was knocked down?
Yes, yes.
Can you tell me a bit about it?
Well, when it's knocking down, I had tried to shock, you know. So I get to know when it happens, somebody come calling me ambulance redan det to take Royal Infirmary. I'm very upset.
Too many kids, too few classrooms. To all mothers who have got children attending Whetley Infant School, this school needs your support. A new prefab classroom is wanted at this school. The reason for this is that 40 children to a class is too much. This concerns your children. It will be them who will have to put up with the drastic overcrowding.
We wanted the very best for our children, so we asked for a third unit so that our classes could be much smaller. But obviously in Bradford and in other parts of the country, money at that time was very, very short. And so we have to, there's a list of priorities, and our school will just have to take its turn. But we did feel that the letter which appeared in Whetley Voice served a very, very useful purpose. Many parents came into the school. It got them into the school building to see what we were doing, the type of work, what the children, their activities, etc. And we got quite a lot of support from the parents, and they agreed that when our turn does come, we shall make very, very good use of another unit.
Mothers and Toddlers Club. Those of you who come with your children will know we have a Mothers and Toddlers Club in number 8, Sloan Square West. We all squash into the flat. We have a chat with a cup of coffee while the children play together with the toys and things. It's free of charge. Don't forget, number 8 is the place. From Peggy, Anne and Barbara.
We started the Mothers and Toddlers Club because if you've seen the outside of the square, you'll be able to see there is nowhere for little children to play. Especially little children need lots of stimulation, and they just don't get it here. So we went round to the mothers, and one mother here, Sandra, and Barbara, and we said, you know, what do you think about a Mothers and Toddlers Club? And they thought it was a very good idea. And so we started meeting every Thursday, and it started off quite small. We had coffee and chats, and then we started getting donations of toys. We started finding toys. It was quite difficult, as we only had £10 to start it off with. And the main reason why we started it is because of the lack of provision for little children. There's hardly any nursery schools at all in this area. Lots of mothers here have tried to get their children into a nursery school, and they've been told, no, sorry, there's no places. Well, I'll just hand you over to Sandra. She'll tell you why she brings her children to the playgroup.
Well, I think the playgroup is a very good idea because it gets the children out of these flats, and it also gives them something to do, and for the mothers as well, for something to do. You know, it gets them out of the flats too for a chat, you know, and we have a cup of coffee and biscuits, and the children seem very happy here because if you go out into the square, there's absolutely nowhere for them to play.
Hey, take one.
Principally, we've been involved with children. That's the principal aim of Play Space, is to deal with the urban environment and the way it relates to kids, or rather the way it doesn't relate to kids. There's just nothing for them to do. Sloan Square, in particular in Bradford, is one of the areas that's particularly deficient in things for kids to do, and there's a high proportion of children living in that area. So it's a spot that we tend to focus on.
We've also done various construction in Sloan Square. We started constructing an adventure playground there with the help, well, it started with Mick Hayes and then we continued that, but unfortunately we're very short of equipment and wood and things at the moment.
Our main thing is getting a relationship up with the kids, and the parents. That's the main thing of it. It's getting a good relationship. That's what we find most important, and that's why we work here sort of full time, trying to do something you can't do sort of part-time, you have to sort of do it all the time.
It's not just the kids as well. I mean, you know the kids, so you get to know the parents and you get to know the problems that they have in Sloan Square, which are immense. And we also act as, well, community workers in a sense, to try and help the parents with their problems.
Mick Hayes, who was one of the people who originated, started Play Space, one of the sort of objectives, with working in the community was, starting a community newspaper. So, the initial sort of moves came perhaps from Play Space with the Whetley Voice. He sort of started it, and he worked with Colin, and Colin took over when the sort of time was right for sort of handing on the sort of whole project, and Colin's worked on it consistently since then. Any community can use a newspaper. I mean, it's some kind of voice, some kind of unity where they can sort of group together, identify together on common problems, and pass out this information, and pass out the information not only among themselves, but to the local authorities and to other communities in the area. So it's a really good sort of unifying factor, really. So it's really sort of initiating it that takes the time, and once it rolls, it's quite good.
And it's to help build up a community feeling within the square to continue our work, because we hope that perhaps they'll get so that they do it just themselves without any help. And it's gone on to Colin, and Colin lives in the square, whereas it started with us helping a lot. We help very little now.
Sloan Square should not exist. We shouldn't need to be here. We'd like to do ourselves out of a job. That is our aim, is to have to stop working here. There just shouldn't be a Sloan Square. And Bradford should be ashamed of itself for having a Sloan Square. And any town should be ashamed of itself for having a situation like Sloan Square, where the kids have to put up with this kind of thing, living here.
The other Sloan Square. On my arrival at Sloan Square, I was flabbergasted to see banks, shops, taxi ranks and a tube station. This part of London is very posh. There are some flats in the square, and these cost up to £30 a week. I spoke to a taxi driver, and he told me he does very well with his taxi. He took a lot of photos of the square, and I will show them around when I get them. King's Road, Chelsea leads into the square, so you can see how posh this area is. I looked into the shop windows in the square, and believe it or not, ladies' shoes are anything up to £26 a pair. There is a pub in the square, and it looks very classy indeed. In the middle of the square are some trees with a lot of coloured lights on them. Also, there is some work going on in the square. For about 30p you can travel to anywhere in London from the Sloan Square tube station. I would be very glad to hear from anybody who has been to Sloan Square in London. Your letter will be printed in The Voice. You will agree with me that our square is nothing like the one that I am writing about. But is there a possibility that we can make this our twin square? Hello.
Hello. Oh, here you haven't signed this petition for
What's
us,
this for?
have you? It's on behalf of the Tenants Association of the Sloan Square West and East. It's about the rubbish and the filth that accumulates in the square.
Yeah, you seem to have done well here, 4 pages.
We've got as many as we can. We're trying to get something done about the square for the people, and about the rubbish, and about the fact there's not enough fire facilities.
Yeah.
You know, like for the middle and the top landing.
Yeah.
If there's a fire, how can they get out?
Yeah, I'll sign this, definitely.
Yeah. And also about the dustbin.
It means getting Sloan Square put back on the map, this sort of thing.
And about the dustbins. There's no doors on them, and the dogs wander around at night and they're just pulling all the rubbish out.
Yeah.
And workmen leaving the work half done, like those there. The tops have been off them. There's a hole been in my bathroom wall alone for 2 months.
Yeah. What spurred you on to do this?
Well, we went to a meeting on Wednesday night and we thought, well, if nobody else is going to do something, we'll try and do something, ourselves.
We had a Tenants Association meeting last Wednesday night.
Yeah, seeing that we're housewives and we're around here all day long.
Yeah.
And also about the people that are throwing stuff out of the windows.
Throwing stuff out of windows?
Rubbish and paper, instead of putting it in the dustbins or whatever.
It's just coming out
just
of the
throwing it out.
Yeah, I'll do a page for this actually in Whetley Voice.
Oh, that's fine.
We felt that the local councillors ought to have a very close liaison with the more deprived areas in the ward, and we have tried to give as much support and help and encouragement as we could to all the people who work so hard on community projects. We have formed this Tenants Committee so that we could receive information from Tenants, pass information on, which was done eventually through this little newspaper, the Whetley Voice.
When I came here, the Whetley Voice was already a well-established paper, and I found it most useful in helping me to form contacts with people in the square. There was an edition of the Voice brought out very soon after my arrival, and I was able to write an article in that, introducing myself to people in the square, outlining what I was hoping to do here and so on.
It isn't everybody that wants to voice their opinion in a public meeting. And therefore, there is this extra facility for them to voice their opinion and know what other people are thinking as well, because it may be they've never thought about the problems that they've got, and that by somebody else voicing them in a paper which they would get free through the letterbox and not have to pay for, I think it can help consolidate feeling,
It does, I'm sure,
and increase communications.
Yes. It's a chance for the man in the street to get his voice heard.
Yes.
It's so easy,
Yes,
for everybody to think the decisions are made up there, we have nothing to do with them. Whereas with something like the Whetley Voice, it means that literally anybody in the street can say what they want to, when they want to, as they want to.
When we first started, a couple of years since, and we wanted the middle tarmac in, and we put a petition in. There were only about 6 of us at first, and from then it's grown, a lot more since then. There's about 20 of us now. But it started, Mrs. Lawler started it in the first place. She was a community worker for Sloan Square. And it were her ideas, that started all this going.
First of all, I'd like to back up the statements of our chairman, Madam Chairwoman. She's been a very hard worker regarding the Tenants Association. We've achieved quite a lot. The alteration which has been done at the moment around the both squares has been set up and achieved by the Tenants Association of this square. We do intend to go further. We intend to make this place a fit place for decent people to live in. We are now on that project, and we will go through to the bitter end.
We've got a caretaker, which he has been poorly for considerable time, but he's come back now to normal now. There's the rats, there's mice, and some people has got problems of dampness in the square, in the flats. We put up raffles to make money for the old age pensioners, for the children. We also have a cake sale. We also have jumble sales.
What do you think about living in Sloan Square?
Well, I think it's terrible for the Sloan Square, the mess it's in, and then the houses is dampness and everything else, and you can't sleep for the dampness because I'm awful bad with my chest.
What do you think about living in Sloan Square?
I like him,
You like it?
Yeah, I like.
I'm not against no kiddies. I like kiddies myself, but the kiddies is a lot to blame for untidiness,
For the untidiness of the square?
Yes.
Been up at the top there, about 38 years. And I think it's horrible. I wouldn't want to go anywhere else, I'd be lost.
Yes.
They've always said that Sloan Square East was, a right nice square.
Yes.
Years ago, and when I came in on Friday and saw it, it looked immaculate. Kind of, yeah.
All cleaned up, was it?
Yes, yes it was. Yeah.
That's right.
My doctor wants me to move out of the flats altogether for a health's sake. He wants me to go in an old people's bungalow at Wyke, or into the conditions round here. He says there's no wonder old people are ill round here, with all the dust from the workmen.
What about the sort of thing around the square? How do you think it could be made better? The sort of dustbin, the rubbish and stuff.
Well, if there's someone to keep the place clean, and
Need
the
a
children
caretaker
want making a mess of it.
Did you know that there is a caretaker? Have you ever seen him?
No.
You haven't?
You can make them nice, You can make them flats nice if you want. That's up to yourself. Where do you get the flat? But look at the condition out there.
Yes.
But my fellow goes out at night and have a bag of nerves.
Yeah, when you're left on your own here?
Yes, but if I have my little protector here, I'm quite all right.
Yeah.
I have her, like.
Yeah, yeah.
Terry's no drag. Terry Durham is one of the best known female impersonators in England, and he's offered to do a free show to help raise money for the Sloan Square Tenants Association Old Folks Fund. Terry lives in Whetley Lane and has been very interested in the activities going on in the square for some time.
I used to wonder why they called me the lady with the swinging organ. Did you get that? Great, not many people do. But everything gets on me chest.
Terry?
Yes?
You know, you work at the clubs a lot round about here. Well, what kind of act do you normally do?
Oh, I sing a couple of numbers, do a bit of striptease.
Oh.
Get them off, you know. One for the girls. Makes a change.
And, I mean, how do the folks around here react to that? I mean, is drag a really big thing in the north?
Great, of course, drag's a big thing in the north. So is striptease.
Yeah, so you've got the best of both worlds, so to speak.
Mixed audience, you can't beat it.
You did the concert across the road for the guys in Sloan Square and Whetley Lane area.
Enjoyed
Voice
it.
And things. What happened that night?
What didn't happen? I was bringing on the artists and announcing them, taking them off again. Not my clothes, the artists, I mean, you know. Doing a couple of numbers and strip and
And
you know, we had a good
strip.
giggle on the whole.
Oh, there's no answer to that. Could you tell us about the old folks there? I mean, what was the whole purpose of the concert?
To give them Christmas presents and Christmas hampers and a good night out, you know, for a night out.
Eileen, you sang in this concert, didn't you, at Brown Royd, Working Men's Club? Can you tell me a bit about it?
Well, it was a great success as far as money-wise, and it was a great success being full. And they had various raffles, bingo, and they made, well, I think they made an enormous amount with it. I did a medley of Jawson, Shirley Bassey's, Harry Seacombe's,
Yeah.
Petula Clark's,
Yeah.
this type of thing.
Yeah.
Love, this is my song. Here is a song, a serenade to you. The world cannot be wrong if in this world there's you. I care not what the world may say. Without your love, there is no day. Love, this is my song. Here is a song, a serenade to you. Why is my heart so light? Why are the stars so bright? Why is the sky so blue since the hour I met you? Flowers are smiling bright, smiling for our delight, smiling so tenderly for the world, you and me. Alone I sing in moonlight with you in my heart. Oh, this is my song. Here is a song, a serenade to you.
Birthday day, isn't it? My love, Eileen.
Yeah, but why remind me? I mean, I'm 21 again. I mean...
21 again, and a year or two, baby. Let's face it, we're both about the same age. So... Morecambe never had it as good as this. Anyway,
No, we'll never
come on, happy birthday. You'll have to join a new crew, okay?
Great. 21. It's a pity I should have brought a few bottles from the pub, shouldn't I?
What I'd like to ask you is this. Is there a lot of old age pensioners living in Sloan Square? You know a few of them, do you?
Oh, about 5.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah. How long have you been here?
38 years.
38 years?
6 months here and
Yeah.
37 and a half over
Yeah.
there.
Do you know anything about the old Sloan Square?
Oh, yes, it was lovely.
That's about 40 years ago, isn't it?
Well, they used to all play out
Yeah.
at ball and that. But they had space to play, you see. And they could go to pictures, couldn't they, at
Yeah.
night? Well, there's no pictures left for them.
Yeah. What happened in Middle at Squares, though?
Oh, they used to play ball there.
Yeah.
About 40 of them, didn't they, Eileen?
Can you really give us a good idea of, same as VE Day? You were telling me something about VE Day in Sloan Square.
Mention it. They had on the square, a man come out playing his melodeon, and I was so touched, because my husband put it was, you know, and he were home, he were in it, and I was so thrilled. I gave them all a drink of Guinness, but I forgot the tea leaves in the bottle.
So actually, you're a Whetley Laner then, are you?
Oh, yeah.
A Sloan Square.
I was the tea maker when they started building the square.
Right.
It were all up where the steps are now. It were all a big hill, wasn't it?
I went there then, actually.
Well, I know you went there because look, one poor old fella, he could never get up, and he always got locked up for being drunk. It was a big hill, wasn't it?
Sunday, June 30th. Look, Colin, it's gone wrong there.
You just get that, you just put that on there and that's it. Just put it in the Whetley Voices. What have you done wrong?
Got a blog.
We take the paper, Whetley Voice, and we've also put the paper into the window for anybody who doesn't happen to get it, that gets missed along the way. They can then, while they're waiting for the fish and chips, you know, if there's a queue on, flick through it and have a look. And there's all the addresses for the people who are necessary to the old people, really. You know, to contact, the phone numbers and Samaritans and social welfare. All these numbers are in the paper.
Yes. Well, I mean, everything goes in there. You know, we never used to have note like that, did we, before?
No. What about the Whetley Voice? Do you read it?
No, I don't read them.
You haven't?
No.
Do you read that at all?
Oh, yeah, we read it. Yeah, we follow that all the time. Yeah, it's quite good.
Yeah. Do you think it's a good idea having a community newspaper?
Yes, I do, yes. For those who want to be in it, yes. You see them scattered up and down after they're delivered them to the door.
Yeah.
That isn't right, that, is it?
No.
Well, I do.
Yeah.
Yes. Many times I can't write. Bad eyesight. But if I could write, I'd write a really nice letter to the Voice.
Would you?
I would not. And a very interesting one. Because they have done a lot of things for people that don't acknowledge it.
Yeah.
We hope you have enjoyed watching this, and we hope that whoever is watching will try and do a newspaper, a community newspaper like this. At the end of the programme, we will let you know where to get in touch with us. What has come out of this is a new Manningham newspaper, a community newspaper called the Manningham News and Views. We will definitely make sure that anybody that wants information on this will get to know about it.